All right, so today we are going to be taking a deep dive into a kind of provocative book,
Yeah,
Why Men Love Bitches.
it is.
And, I think we want to make it clear right off the bat
Absolutely.
that, we are not advocating for anybody to become a, quote unquote bitch.
No, not at all.
But really, we want to kind of get into the meat of the book and what the message is here,
Right.
which is about confidence and
Self-respect.
self-respect and boundaries.
Healthy boundaries in relationships. Yeah,
And really, you know, the book uses bitch in a very tongue-in-cheek way.
it does.
Yes.
It's more of a playful term for a woman who
Yeah.
understands how to sort of navigate relationships and
Right.
assert her needs and set those boundaries.
Yeah, and understands male psychology in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Men and women can be very different in how
Right.
they think about relationships and communicate. And
Right.
so this book is trying to bridge that gap a little bit.
So it's about leveling the playing field a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
Understanding the unspoken rules of the game.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
And as we go through this, I really encourage our listeners
Yeah.
to think critically about the ideas that are presented in this book.
Absolutely.
Do they resonate with you? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree?
Yeah, this is all about food for thought.
Right.
Not necessarily a set of rules to follow,
Yeah.
but just some things to consider.
So let's jump into the book starts off with this idea of not caring too much,
Right.
which initially sounds so counterintuitive.
It does, yeah,
Okay.
because of course we should care about the people that we're in relationships with.
Right.
But the book really gets into like the psychology of attraction
Right.
and this idea of a mental challenge.
Yeah.
Men are often intrigued by women who seem a little bit less invested,
Right.
a little less available.
Yeah.
It creates that kind of air of mystery.
Okay, so it's not about being cold or indifferent,
No, not at all.
but about having your own life, having your own passions,
Exactly.
not making the relationship your sole focus.
Right.
And the book actually illustrates this with a pretty funny anecdote
Yes.
about a woman named Laura who turns down
Oh, yeah. A cruise.
A cruise with this
Just
guy
go to a Tupperware party.
because she already had plans for a Tupperware party.
Of all things, yes.
And it completely throws him off guard.
Right. He's offering this like grand romantic gesture,
Yeah.
and she's more excited about plastic containers.
Right.
But that's what makes her so intriguing.
It shows she's not waiting around.
Yeah.
She's got her own thing going on.
Exactly. She has her own life. She's not dependent on him.
Yeah, and I think that applies to everybody regardless of gender.
I agree.
When you're passionate about your own pursuits, it
Yeah.
creates this natural magnetism.
It does.
What stands out to you about this concept?
Well, I think it ties into this psychological principle of scarcity.
Okay.
When something is less available,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes more desirable. And it's not about playing games or anything. It's
Yeah.
about genuinely, investing in yourself and
Yeah.
letting your own light shine.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
And I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners out there.
absolutely.
Think about those hobbies you've been neglecting,
Yeah.
those friendships you've been meaning to rekindle,
Yeah.
that personal project you put on hold.
Right.
Reclaiming those things not only boosts your confidence,
It does.
but it also makes you inherently more interesting,
Yeah.
more attractive. It's
Yeah.
a win-win.
Absolutely a win-win.
Yeah. And speaking of understanding the other side,
Yes,
the book also dives into decoding male communication,
it does.
which sometimes can feel like a completely different language.
It can, yeah.
I think we've all experienced those moments where we're like,
Yes.
what is he even saying?
Right.
Why isn't he more open about his feelings?
Exactly. And the book highlights that men are often
Yeah,
less verbally expressive,
right.
especially when it comes to emotions. They might show their love and care through actions rather than words.
Yeah, it's like that classic example of, the guy fixing something around the house
Exactly.
as a way of showing affection.
Yes, or planning a surprise outing instead of just saying, I love you.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's more about the action.
And this isn't to say that men don't have feelings.
No, of course not.
Or that they're incapable of expressing them verbally.
Right.
It's just that their communication style
It can be different.
might differ
Yeah.
from what women typically expect.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of misunderstandings can come up.
Exactly.
We might be looking for those deep, heartfelt conversations
Right.
while they're expressing their love
Mhm.
through practical gestures
Right.
or, acts of service.
This is about looking beyond the surface.
Yes,
And understanding the deeper meaning
exactly.
behind those gestures.
And the book emphasizes that, tuning into those subtle cues
Yeah.
and recognizing the different ways that men might be communicating their affection.
Right.
So if you're feeling frustrated by a lack of verbal affirmation, maybe pay attention to how he's showing up for you
Right.
through his actions. It might surprise you.
It might just surprise you.
Yeah.
And speaking of deeper meaning,
Yes.
the book gets pretty real about financial independence
It does,
as a
yes.
source of power in a relationship.
Absolutely. And it's not about becoming a millionaire
Right.
or, rejecting a partner's generosity.
Right.
It's about having your own pink slip, as the book puts it.
Right.
That sense of freedom and autonomy,
Right.
that comes from knowing you can support yourself.
It's about having options and not feeling trapped
Exactly.
in a situation that's no longer serving you.
Yes. And the book illustrates this
Yeah.
with a story about a woman named Oksana
Okay.
who's living this seemingly luxurious life with a wealthy guy,
Okay.
but he constantly belittles her spending habits
Oh.
and uses his financial control to keep her in check.
Wow.
It's a classic example of how financial dependence
Yeah.
can really shift the power dynamic
Yeah.
in unhealthy ways.
Yeah. It's not even just about the money itself.
No,
It's about the psychological impact.
absolutely.
When you're financially dependent, it can really erode your sense of self-worth.
It can, yeah, and make you feel like you have to constantly please or appease your partner
Yeah.
to maintain that financial security.
And it can even affect the level of respect
Yes.
and attraction in a relationship.
Absolutely.
The book argues that men are often more attracted to women who
Sure.
have their own drive and ambition,
Right.
who are capable of taking care of themselves.
Exactly, and it ties back to that sense of confidence and independence
Yes.
that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. And I think it's a valuable takeaway for anybody,
I agree.
regardless of gender or relationship status.
Yeah,
Having that financial foundation empowers you to make choices
it does.
that are aligned with your own values. Success.
And your own goals.
Exactly. It's about having the agency to walk away
Right.
from a situation that's no longer serving you
Yeah,
without feeling financially trapped.
without feeling trapped.
And
Yeah,
that sense of empowerment is incredibly attractive.
I can see that
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. So we've talked about self-reliance and, and decoding communication,
Right.
but the book doesn't shy away from addressing,
Yeah.
some of the maybe less flattering aspects of this whole bitch persona.
It doesn't. And one of the key themes that emerges is this idea of
Okay.
strategic bitchiness,
Strategic bitchiness.
which again is not about being mean or nasty.
Right.
It's about being assertive, setting boundaries, and not tolerating behavior
Right.
that disrespects you or violates your values.
And it's about standing up for yourself in a way that commands respect.
Exactly.
Right.
The book contrasts how a nice girl might react
Uh-huh.
to being taken for granted or disrespected.
Versus how a, bitch, in the book sense of the word, would handle the situation.
Okay.
The nice girl might swallow her feelings, try to please him even more,
Right.
or hope he'll magically change.
Right. Just kind of hope for the best.
Right.
Whereas the bitch will address the issue head on.
Exactly. Set those clear expectations and consequences.
Right. And it's not about being aggressive or confrontational,
No.
but it's about communicating your needs and expectations clearly and directly.
Yes. And the book argues that men actually often respond better
Right.
to this type of direct communication
Okay.
rather than hints or, passive aggressiveness.
So it's being assertive without being aggressive.
Exactly.
And the book even suggests that this type of confidence
Yes.
can be a major turn-on for men.
It can. The author posits that men are often drawn to women
Okay.
who have that strong sense of self and aren't afraid to speak their minds.
Okay.
It conveys a sense of strength and independence that can be very attractive.
And it shows that you respect yourself, which makes it more likely that others will respect you as well.
Yes. It sets the tone for the whole relationship.
Yeah, it's the tone for the entire relationship.
Yeah.
And the book provides some really interesting examples
It does.
of how to do this effectively.
Yeah, like using humor to deflect criticism
Okay.
or setting clear consequences when boundaries are crossed.
I remember that anecdote about the woman
Oh, yes.
whose boyfriend made a snarky comment about her nail polish color.
Yes. Instead of getting defensive or upset,
Yeah.
she just playfully shut it down
Right.
with something like, "The suggestion box is closed, but you can fax your ideas to the trash can."
Oh, that's great.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
She totally disarmed the situation with humor and grace.
She did.
And that's a key point, right? It's
Yeah.
not about being abrasive or confrontational. It's about being firm but playful.
Yes,
Knowing your worth,
exactly.
not letting anyone diminish it.
And that confidence is contagious. You know, when you own your worth, it changes the whole dynamic of the interaction.
Yeah.
And it ties back to what we were discussing earlier
Huh?
about the power of not caring too much.
Right?
You know, when you're secure in yourself and your own life,
Yeah.
you're not as easily swayed by criticism or negativity.
You have that inner strength and resilience
You do.
to handle those challenging moments
Yeah.
with grace
Yeah.
and composure.
And the book dives even deeper,
Okay.
exploring how this sense of self-assurance can impact other aspects of the relationship.
Okay, so for example.
For example, it talks about the importance of maintaining a sense of mystery and intrigue,
Okay.
even in long-term relationships.
So keeping the spark alive.
Exactly.
Even when you've been together for a while.
Yes. And it doesn't mean you need to play games or be manipulative.
Right.
It's more about cultivating your own interests and passions,
Right.
having your own independent life outside of the relationship.
So you're not relying solely on your partner for entertainment or fulfillment.
Yes, it's about having that healthy balance
Okay.
where you're both individuals
Yeah.
with your own unique identities and experiences.
And that can actually make the relationship stronger
they can.
because you're constantly bringing new things to the table.
Exactly. You're both constantly growing and evolving,
Right.
both individually and as a couple.
And this ties into another key theme in
Yeah.
the book,
Right.
which is the importance of not being overly accommodating
Right.
or trying to please your partner
Yes.
at the expense of your own needs and desires.
At the expense of your own needs, exactly.
So knowing when to say no,
Yes.
setting those healthy boundaries.
Absolutely. The book argues that constantly putting your partner's needs before your own
Uh-huh.
can actually backfire in the long run.
Right.
It can create resentment and imbalance in the relationship.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
You have to take care of yourself first
Yes.
before you can truly give to others.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right.
And this self-care can take many forms.
Yeah.
Whether it's prioritizing your own hobbies,
Right.
spending time with friends, or just taking some time for yourself to relax and recharge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that your needs and desires
Yes.
are just as important
They are.
as your partner's.
Just as important.
And that communicating those needs effectively
Yes.
is essential for a healthy and balanced relationship.
It is, and it ties back to this concept of strategic bitchiness
Okay.
in the sense that it's about being assertive and advocating
Right.
for your own well-being.
It's not about being selfish,
No.
but about creating a dynamic
Exactly.
where both partners feel respected and valued.
Yes, it's about creating a relationship that's truly a partnership
Yeah.
where both people feel empowered to be their authentic selves
Right.
and express their needs openly and honestly.
And the book suggests that this type of open communication
Yes,
can actually enhance intimacy and connection in a relationship.
it can, because you're both being vulnerable and sharing your true selves with each other.
Right. And that vulnerability can create a deeper level of trust.
It can, and intimacy.
The book also touches on the importance of maintaining a sense of humor,
Okay.
especially when things get tough or stressful.
Because laughter is the best medicine.
It is. It really is.
Right.
And it's not just about telling jokes or anything.
Yeah.
It's about having that lighthearted, playful attitude
Right.
that makes you fun to be around.
Makes you fun to be around.
Yeah, being able to laugh at yourself and not take things too seriously.
Remembering to have fun.
Yes.
And not get bogged down
Right.
by the day-to-day stresses of life.
Exactly. And that playful energy can be incredibly attractive. You know,
Yeah.
it shows that you're confident and secure enough to not take yourself too seriously.
And it can really help to diffuse tension and conflict
Absolutely.
in a relationship.
Humor can be such a powerful tool for communication and connection.
It allows you to address sensitive topics in a lighthearted way.
Right.
And it can create a sense of shared joy and intimacy.
So finding that balance between being assertive
Yes.
and knowing your worth
Yeah.
while also maintaining a sense of humor and playfulness.
Exactly. It's about being a multifaceted individual
Okay.
who is confident, independent, and fun-loving.
And the book suggests that this combination of traits
Yes.
is incredibly attractive to men.
It is. It's about embracing your feminine power
Okay.
and using it to create the kind of relationship you truly desire.
So it sounds like this book, Why Men Love Bitches, is encouraging women to tap into
Yeah.
a different kind of strength.
I think so.
One that maybe isn't always celebrated
Right.
in more traditional relationship advice.
Yeah, I think it definitely challenges some of the conventional notions.
Yeah.
about what it means to be a good girlfriend or wife.
Right. It's not about being subservient
Right.
or putting your partner's needs above your own.
Exactly. It's about recognizing your own value and creating a dynamic where both partners feel respected and fulfilled.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between being independent
Yeah.
and assertive,
Yes.
but also still being open to love and connection.
Absolutely. And the book emphasizes that this is a journey,
Right.
not a destination.
Yay.
It's about continually learning and growing,
Okay.
both individually and as a couple.
So not about becoming a bitch
Right.
in the negative sense of the word,
No.
but about evolving into the most confident and authentic version of yourself.
Exactly. It's about owning your worth and not settling for anything less than you deserve.
Okay.
And understanding that men are often attracted to women
Yeah.
who have that strong sense of self
Right.
and who challenge them to be their best selves as well.
Almost like flipping the script on traditional dating advice.
I think so, yeah.
It's not about playing hard to get or manipulating men.
No.
It's about genuinely investing in yourself.
Right.
And letting your own light shine.
And that resonates with people regardless of gender.
Right. You know, we all want to be in relationships where we feel respected,
Yeah.
valued, and empowered to be ourselves.
And where we can have a little fun along the way.
Right.
The book really does emphasize the importance of humor and playfulness.
It does. It's about not taking things too seriously, being able to laugh at yourself,
Yeah.
and creating a dynamic where you can both just relax and enjoy each other's company.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
relationships should be about connection and joy.
They should add to our lives, not drain us.
Right.
And I think this book offers a refreshing perspective on how to create that kind of fulfilling partnership.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what would you say is the most important takeaway?
I think the most important message is to embrace your own unique strengths and values.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to be assertive. Set boundaries.
Yeah.
Communicate your needs clearly and directly.
Right.
And most importantly, remember to have fun and enjoy the journey.
I love that.
It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
between strength and vulnerability, independence and connection,
Absolutely.
and remembering that you're worthy of love and respect
Yes.
exactly as you are.
Beautifully said.
So to our listeners out there,
Yeah.
I encourage you to think about one small step you can take today
Okay.
to embrace your own inner bitch.
Right.
In the most positive sense, of course.
Yes.
Maybe it's setting a boundary with a friend,
Yeah.
speaking up for yourself at work,
Ah.
or simply taking some time for yourself to do something you love.
And remember, this isn't about becoming someone you're not.
Right.
It's about tapping into that strength and confidence that already exists within you.
It's about owning your worth and creating the kind of relationships that you truly desire.
Exactly.
So go out there and be the baddest, most confident,
Yes.
most authentic version of yourself.
You got this.